The concept of race, when used in a racist culture, is pseudoscience and bitterness. Race is a socially constructed concept, and people may think that it is biological, but no genes have been found that actually are strictly designated to a specific racial group. There isn't even a correlation between racial biological traits. Naomi Zack talks about how without race, genocide and enslavement would have been treated as an actual crime. Basically, she's saying that the social contract allows this immoral treatment. This shows that racism is based on hundreds of lies because race does not actually exist. It only exists based on the lies told by oppressors to justify their cruelty. Zack argues throughout the reading that racial identification limits agency. Non-white people are objects of identification and their agency gets diminished because they are objectified. Zach brings up many good points on why racial identification limits agency, like how the acceptance of racial identification as one's identity can create a great distance from oneself because they will now look at themselves as a member of a group and will allow them to experience pity and terror because they have become a spectator of their own life. Their death, therefore, becomes a tragedy and makes it harder for them to picture death and accept it, which then makes it harder to live life to the fullest with maximum agency. Zack brings up a good point when she states the existential question: how relevant is race to a life that in each case is some human being's my life? I interpreted this to mean that to what extent does racial identification need to happen in one's life where that person becomes defined by that identification, not only by spectators, but by himself? Zach's conclusion is related to this question because she says that it is in good faith to reject this racial identification. Many people who are racially identified accept it and think they are wrong. She concludes that the wrongness can be repudiated if the identification is not accepted. Not accepting all the stereotypes and taking offense or pride in them is in good faith. I think her argument and conclusion connect very well because she argues what causes a diminution in agency, and the conclusion is that acceptance of racial identification is a cause of it, and the denial of racial identification can restore it.